Do you want your English to sound more natural in everyday conversations? The key to sounding natural in English is all about the phrases you use and how you say them. In this video, I will give you 30 essential phrases that will help you sound more like a native speaker. And make sure you stay until the end of the video where I will give you my top recommendation for how to learn and use these new phrases. Let's get started. The first phrase is long time no see. This is a nice casual phrase that you might say to a friend who you haven't seen in a long time. It's quite an informal phrase, so it's the type of thing that you would say to friends and family. So imagine that you are meeting up with a friend who you haven't seen in a while. The first thing you might say is, long time no see. The next thing you might want to do is ask your friend, how are you? But there are more interesting ways that native speakers ask this question. For example, you could say, how have you been? This is a friendly way to ask someone how they've been doing recently. If you want to respond to this question, one thing you can say is, can't complain. This is a modest way to tell your friend that things are going fine. If you say, can't complain, it doesn't mean that everything is great in your life, but it means you don't have any particular problems. Yeah, things are fine. I can't complain. Something you could say if things aren't so good could be better. This is a casual way to tell the other person that things aren't going so great, but you're managing. So it's not like everything is terrible, but it could be better. If you're not feeling very well, something you can say is, I'm feeling a bit under the weather. If you're under the weather, it means you're not quite 100%, you're not at full health. This phrase usually isn't used if you are very seriously ill, just if you're not really feeling that good. Maybe you have a cold or a headache, you're feeling a bit under the weather. The next phrase is, let me know how it goes. This is a useful phrase if you want to tell the other person to keep you updated on a situation. For example, your friend is going for a job interview. You might say, good luck, let me know how it goes, meaning, tell me how you do in the interview. You could use this phrase in any situation where you want the other person to give you an update on the outcome of a certain event or situation. In response to that, someone might say, I'll keep you posted. This is a promise they're making to share updates on something. So if I say to my friend, good luck in your presentation, let me know how it goes, my friend might respond, sure, I'll keep you posted, meaning that they will tell me how they do in that presentation. This is a very useful phrase where people are going to expect updates from you. It's a casual phrase, but you could also use it in a work situation with a colleague that you feel comfortable with. Now moving on to a couple of phrases that you can use to agree with people. If you really agree with something the other person has said, you can say, I couldn't agree more, meaning that you really do agree with whatever they just told you. I couldn't agree more is a strong way to express that you agree with someone. If you want a polite way to acknowledge someone's perspective, you can say, that's a fair point. This phrase is used to let someone know that you agree with their point or you're at least acknowledging what they've said. Yes, that's a fair point. Situations that you might use this in could be when discussing something with friends, making plans to do something when someone makes a suggestion that you want to acknowledge, or it could even be used in a work situation, in a meeting where you're coming up with ideas and brainstorming. If someone says something that you agree with and want to acknowledge, you can say, that's a fair point. The next phrase is, I'll take your word for it. The key to this phrase is that you are expressing that you trust or believe the other person, but you don't need any more evidence or any more proof. An example of a situation when you can use this phrase, imagine you're on holiday with your friend and there is a swimming pool, and you look at the water and you think, that looks very cold to me. I don't think I want to go in that swimming pool, it's too cold. Your friend jumps in and they say, oh, come in, it's fine, it's really not that cold. You might say, okay, I'll take your word for it, meaning, okay, I believe you, but I'm not getting in the pool. I don't need proof that it's not too cold. That's a good example of a situation when you might use that phrase. You want to acknowledge something someone said, say you believe them, but you're not interested in having any more proof or trying that thing for yourself. The next phrase is don't take it personally. This is a phrase you can say when you want to tell someone that you weren't criticizing them. Maybe you say something and it seems like they're a bit offended. You can say, don't take it personally, meaning I don't mean to offend you with my words. Or you could be talking about another situation. Maybe your friend is complaining to you about something someone said to them at work and they're getting very upset. You can say, don't take it personally, meaning it's probably not about you. Try not to be offended by this situation. The next phrase is a useful thing you can say if you want to respectfully end a disagreement, and that is, let's agree to disagree. This is something you can say when you are clearly not agreeing with the other person on something, but you don't want to continue arguing or you don't want to continue discussing this topic. So you end the discussion by saying, let's agree to disagree, meaning we don't agree on this matter, but we're going to leave it there and not continue talking about it. The next phrase is something you can use to talk about a situation that's not decided yet, and that is, it's up in the air. If something is up in the air, it means that a decision has not yet been made about that particular thing. For example, you think that you might want to move house, but you haven't decided where you're moving, when you're moving. You're not 100% sure if you're moving, but there's an idea that you might. You could say to someone, it's up in the air. Nothing has been decided yet. So you're expressing that there's some uncertainty around a particular situation. Something you can say if you're undecided or you're not sure which option to choose, I'm on the fence. This is something we use when there are two different options and we can't choose between them. For example, you're trying to decide what to do for your birthday. You're either going to have a picnic in the park or go to a restaurant for dinner. If you can't decide between the two, you might say to your friends, I don't know, I'm on the fence, meaning I can't choose either option. If someone asks you a question and you want a polite way of not giving them an answer, you can say, I'd rather not say. This is a very polite and respectful way to decline answering a question. It could be a personal question or something you don't want to talk about. Whatever it is, a nice way to say, I don't want to answer that is, I'd rather not say. If you're enjoying this video and finding these phrases useful, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified every time I release a new English language learning video. Now let's continue with our phrases. The next phrase is a really useful one if you are making plans or decisions with someone else. You can say, let's play it by ear. This means that you're not going to make a definite plan, but you're instead going to decide along the way. For example, you make a plan to meet your friend for breakfast on Saturday, but afterwards you don't have a specific plan. You might say to your friend, let's play it by ear, meaning, let's see how we feel. Maybe we'll go shopping, maybe we'll go to the cinema, maybe we won't feel like doing anything. The point is, we're not going to decide now, we're going to see how we feel in the moment. Let's play it by ear. Another really useful phrase which I use all the time, let's cross that bridge when we come to it. This phrase is used to say you will deal with a problem if and when it happens. It's a good phrase to use if you're not sure that you will have a particular problem, therefore you don't want to worry about it unless you have to. You're going to not think about it now, and if it becomes a problem, then you'll deal with it. Let's cross that bridge when we come to it. Moving on to some phrases now that you can use when asking for help or doing people a favour. The first one, can you give me a hand? This is a casual, informal way of asking someone for help. For example, you are carrying some heavy shopping bags into the house and you see your son or your daughter sitting on the sofa, you might say to them, "Can you give me a hand?" Meaning, "Can you come and carry some of these bags?" It could also be used at work. Perhaps you have a report to finish and you're not able to finish it on time. You might send a message to your colleague saying, "Can you give me a hand with this report?" Meaning, "Can you help me?" It's quite an informal, casual phrase, so you should only use it with friends or people that you feel comfortable with. If someone has done you a favor, you might say to them, "I owe you one." This is a way of saying thank you for the help and suggesting that next time they need help, they can ask you, "I owe you one. You helped me, so I need to help you at some point in the future." The next phrase is "sorry to bother you." This is a very polite way of interrupting somebody, and you might use it in a work situation. Perhaps you need to give your manager a quick call to ask a question. You might start with, "Sorry to bother you. I just have a question about," and that's a nice polite way to acknowledge that maybe you're interrupting them, but you do have a question or you need something from that person. The next phrase is a really nice one to say to your friends, "I've got your back." This is a way of reassuring someone that you are going to support them in a particular situation. Imagine that someone gets in trouble at work and they're worried that they're going to be fired. You can say to them, "Don't worry, I've got your back." Meaning, I will support you if I need to defend you in a certain way or give evidence to say that you didn't do anything wrong. I've got your back, I'm here for you, and I will support you in whatever way that you need. The next phrase is another one that you might need to use at work. "I'll take it from here." This phrase is used to indicate to someone that you are going to take over something and you will handle it from now on. For example, someone has been working on a project and you are going to take over the project and work on it instead. You can say, "Okay, I'll take it from here," meaning I'm going to take over the project. I will be in charge of it now. It could also be used in the context of giving a presentation. Maybe one of your work colleagues has started the presentation and they've finished their section. You can say, "Thanks, I'll take it from here," meaning I will now continue with the presentation. A nice useful phrase that you can use if you want to say that you're going to try something, even if it might be difficult, "I'll give it a shot." This is suggesting that you will make an effort to do something. It might be something a bit difficult, you might not be confident that you will succeed, but the point is you're going to try. "I'll give it a shot." An example of when you might use this phrase, imagine you are going to do karaoke with your friends, but no one wants to sing. Everyone is too shy, they don't want to do it. You can say, "I'll give it a shot," meaning I'll go, I'll try, I'll sing a song. Maybe I'll be bad, but who cares? I'll give it a shot. The next phrase is "don't hold your breath." This is a good one to imply that something probably isn't going to happen. For example, one of your work colleagues comes to you and says, "Oh, do you think we'll get a big Christmas bonus in our paycheck this year?" And you say, "Don't hold your breath," meaning it's very unlikely that that will happen. The next phrase is "better late than never." This is a good one to suggest that something happened or arrived late, but at least it's happened. It's an optimistic phrase because it's saying that something is good even if it was delayed. For example, you bought something online and you waited weeks and weeks and weeks for it to arrive. When it finally arrived, you were so happy that you had received your item, you said, "Better late than never." It was very late, it was very delayed, but at least I have my item now. Another nice phrase that I really like to use when accepting an invitation, "I wouldn't miss it for the world." This is used to express enthusiasm about attending an event. For example, your friend invites you to her birthday party. You say, "Of course, I wouldn't miss it for the world," meaning I'm so excited to come to your party, of course I'm going to be there. This can be used to show enthusiasm about any event. Another nice optimistic phrase, "the more the merrier." It's a friendly way to say that having more people makes something even better. An example of when you might use this, maybe you invited some friends to your house for dinner and one of your friends says, "Hey, can I bring my partner? Is that okay?" You say, "Of course, the more the merrier. The more people that come to the party, the better." The next phrase is a useful one to say that you are all ready and you don't need any more help from someone. That phrase is, "I'm all set." This is a good one to use if someone has been helping you, for example, at work. Maybe someone has been helping you settle into a new job. They've been giving you information about the company and helping you to understand what your role is. They might say, "Are you okay now?" And you say, "Yeah, I'm all set," meaning I understand everything, I have everything I need to do my job. The next one is a nice natural phrase to say that you forgot something. It slipped my mind. If something slips your mind, you simply forget. For example, your friend sends you a message and says, "Hey, you were supposed to call me this afternoon." You can say, "I'm so sorry, it slipped my mind," meaning I just completely forgot that I was supposed to call you. With friends, family, close acquaintances, it's a nice natural way to say that you forgot something. It slipped my mind. Our final phrase is my favorite one. I'm all ears. This is something you can say when you are ready to listen to someone. For example, a friend comes to you and says, "Oh my gosh, I have a crazy story to tell you." You might say, "I'm all ears," meaning I'm ready to listen. Tell me the story. So those are our 30 phrases to sound more natural in English. Now, here is my top recommendation for how you can learn and actually use these phrases so you can sound more like a native speaker in daily conversation. One of the best ways to learn these phrases is to immerse yourself in English as much as possible. How can you do this? Well, I have 3 steps to follow. Step number 1, listen in English as much as possible. This can be listening to podcasts, the news, YouTube videos, TV, films. Any listening that you can do as much as possible throughout your day will help you to immerse in the language and naturally pick up phrases like the ones in this video. Step number 2 is to repeat and practice. When you hear new phrases, try to repeat them and copy the pronunciation, the intonation, and say them how the speaker says them. And step number 3 is to create a phrase book. This is where you keep a nice list of all of the phrases as you learn them. It's also a good idea to write an example sentence so you know exactly how to use that phrase in context. And of course, review those phrases regularly. And if you're looking for more phrases to put into that phrase book, then I recommend you check out this video next.